Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Choice, Change and Action podcast. So you're with me, your host, Simone Milasas, and Graeme Crosscuddles. So I work with Graeme. He's a South African guy living in Italy at the moment. And we just had a great conversation about many different things that I think you can apply to your life, whether it's business, money, relationships, your body, and your whole choice about what you're choosing for you. Like, what future are you choosing? What future are you asking for? So there's some really cool tools in there. I really enjoyed it. Gosh, I think we're about to have this massive storm here. I had this fake background. It wasn't fake background. It was a virtual background with a photo I took today when I was hiking here. I'm in Opatija, Croatia. But now on this overview, so if you're just listening, you can go to YouTube and check us out. Please subscribe. I'm going to show you. This is the view from my Airbnb. It's so beautiful. Look at those clouds. We had the big storm last night. It was so epic. Lots of lightning. So, and I think hopefully I don't lose all up there. I think there's some hiking up there that I'm going to check out. So, but yeah, it's so beautiful. I have thoroughly enjoyed being here. So, and enjoy the podcast. And we also came up with afterwards, I'm going to do a one-off call. It'll be just after this podcast gets released. Okay. So check it out. It will be in the show notes. At the moment, I think it's called Predictable Future. That means lots of question marks. Okay. So listen to the podcast and you'll find out more about that too. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye. Welcome to the Choice, Change and Action podcast, where you get to choose, change and take action to create a different today and a different future. Hey, everybody. So I am in Opatija, Croatia at the moment. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can see the background I have. I'm actually in my Airbnb and the background is my kitchen, and the kitchen has, kitchen stuff everywhere. So I went, I'll create this virtual background. So it looks a little strange, but it's real. I took it this morning when I was hiking, and I have Mr. Graeme Crosscuddles on this podcast with me. Hello, Graeme. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
And anyway, I started chatting to him and he goes, I'll do the same. And then we have the same background now, just mirrored. I love it. I don't know. I'm so bad at technology, but I do like it when something new pops up that I can use that makes life easier than, having to put everything away that's in my kitchen. So here we go.
I mean, if you make a coffee in that kitchen, it's going to be a little bit salty, but it could work.
Exactly. I did make my own coffee this morning. It's the simplest of things. I have an Airbnb, and it's interesting because I chose to come to Croatia earlier than what I was booked for because we were rescheduling a class that was meant to be on in Rome. And oh my goodness, my body is so happy that I'm not actually facilitating that class right now in Rome, and that I got to have some space after facilitators and then also have some space here in Croatia. And someone said to me, why don't you go and stay at a hotel for a few days and get some luxury so that you can relax? And I found it really interesting because everybody has a different perspective. And my perspective is I actually don't desire to be in another hotel. I like having something like an Airbnb where, this morning I got up and I made my own coffee. It's so simple, but I really like making my own coffee. Apparently I make it very strong. I just thought it was normal, but apparently the last few people who drank my coffee are like, whoa! And I'm like, it's a good way to start the day. And having the space and having what I would say is like this energy of like a home, I enjoy that. So, but what I found really interesting was different people's perspective and how people will project quite often their perspective upon you as though that is what you should choose, rather than you having a look at what actually works for you. And it could be something that nobody else has chosen. It could be something, entirely different to what you would have chosen a week ago, a month ago, or a year ago. For me, that is so much about being in question of where are you at with your life? Where are you at with your business? Where are you at with, your revenue, money streams, etc.? And what else would you like to choose? So I asked Graeme to come on a podcast with me and I guess just to have a chat about, business and these topics in the future, and different systems and structures that we've put in place, that maybe hopefully giving you some tools that you can have some awareness from this as you're listening to, and I guess be in question of your life and your business and what it is that you're choosing. So Graeme, thank you for being here.
Thank you. Well, I love what you're saying. And, I would say the first tool that actually what is resonating for me when you're talking about looking at what works for you is the tool from Right Riches, where there's a difference between being wealthy and being rich. And in this kind of, like, you just gave such a great example of being wealthy, having these different choices, and where for me, like, the rich point of view is the 5-star hotel, the spa, but the wealth is that, hey, what if actually waking up and making a coffee just makes you happy and joyful,
Yeah.
So I love that. Yeah.
I've even done my own washing, which I like. I'm away in Europe for 2 months, so I've done my own washing. I went and hired a car, and actually, this is what I was talking to Graeme about before we started the podcast too. Is I like going to new places like this, and if you wake up and look at your business like this, okay, what if you didn't define your business? And even right now, as I ask the question, what if you defined your business as? And if you just even be with that and sit with that for a moment, you can press pause on the podcast if you need to, whatever. But just ask yourself, what have you defined your business as? Or even what have you defined you in business as? Because the second you have this definition, you have this place of, oh, this is what it is, this is what it's done, this is what it does, this is how I am, blah, blah, blah. You literally stop the future possibilities of what can show up, because you're only functioning from the definition that you have. And, this is a sort of off scale example. I was saying to Graeme, coming to a place like here, I've never been here before. Well, in this lifetime, Opatija, Croatia. I've been to Croatia, but not to Opatija. I hope I'm saying that correct. Am I saying that correct?
Yeah. Well, that's what I would say.
All right. Well, I'm glad I'm not staying in the place that starts with R that I flew into, because it's one of those all those R's, like the no, I can't say that, so I'm not even going to try. So anyway, so this is the first time I've been here, and you got here last night, and I've hired a car. It's so cute. It's a little, soft top, but it's a little mini car because the streets here are little and mini, and why not? And I hired a car, and today, went to the supermarket, found a supermarket, and made my own salad today. It's so strange that things like that I'm like, I just want to make my own salad, and do that, like these, but choosing that. And I like the way you mentioned it's from that wealth. Like I could last night I went to a restaurant, I think it's probably one of the finest restaurants down on the water, had a glass of champagne, and I had some amazing scallops and some fish, and it was absolutely beautiful. So it's not about the money that I'm choosing to have an Airbnb and go to a supermarket. It's about what actually brings me joy. But I was saying there was a little moment today that really made me look at, hey, Simone, you've got to be totally present in what you're choosing and be in question. Because I hired this car, and if you don't know, in Australia, we drive on the other side of the road, on the other side of the car. I've driven all over the world plenty of times. Like, I'm not shy of that, but you do have to get in the headspace of it when you jump in a car that's on the other side, etc. And when you're on a really busy freeway, it's easy because you're just following all the other cars, right? But here, there's some really little streets, and where I'd hired the car, and I went to turn left, and I was so close to turning left, and just going into the left lane, and there's cars just whip around. And as I went to do it, there was a car that was coming straight for me, and I was like, oh, that's right, other side of the road, Simone. But it was cool because I went, oh wow, okay, you got to be present, you got to be in question here. I haven't been here before, so I can't define it, I can't assume anything. I literally have to be asking questions. And I see so much of our lives and our business we run by what we did yesterday. What if you didn't? What if you were in question every single day? But what else could show up?
They're like one of my favorite quotes that I always remind myself of is the enemy of a great life is a good life. And it's just so well like capturating what you're saying, because like you could have a good business, you could have a good life, a good whatever, but as soon as you have that definition,
Yeah.
is there anything more? And like that's what the that's what the gift of being able to go in so many different places and do things that are different, because it cracks open those solidities and you get to experience things very differently.
Yeah, it does. And I mean, I was talking to you about this a little bit before we started the podcast. I went for a hike today, and I went on possibly one of the easiest hikes because I just wanted to get, I guess, the lay of the land. And it's along the seaside. It's so beautiful. I mean, the sea was just mad. Like it was crashing, and it was loud and it was beautiful. And that's one of the things I was looking at is that place of how we do define something and how we go, like what I was saying to you before. It's like, I've got a great life. I'm very happy. I don't really struggle. If I come up with a problem, it's usually just invented. It's like I don't really have a problem, and I keep creating my life, etc. And it's, I've been there, done that with money. I've had no money, created money, investments, different things, wealth creation, and yet I've got investments around the world. So it's good. A lot of people would look at my life and go, hey, that's a really good life. Absolutely love what I get to do around the world. Facilitating access consciousness is just, you just can't even put that stuff into words. It is just such a thrill when you're facilitating a class and you see people right in front of you just change or get this aha moment and be like, ooh, and their whole entire life changes because they're at a class and they're using the access consciousness tools. And, there's so many different various things that we get to do with that. Like, I mean, even this podcast. So my life is good. It's great, in fact. And yet, what if we asked for more? Like, I was looking at that today as I was hiking. It's like, what else is it that I would like to ask for? And a lot of the times we start to ask for what we think we desire. I think this goes along with that quote you just brought up there too, Graeme, which I'd love to know who that quote was by.
Oh, I would too.
Oh,
I
okay. You don't
yeah.
know. You just heard it one day. I love
It was by Graham.
it. By Graeme
Yeah.
Crosscuddles. I love it.
Yeah.
So here's something else. What if you actually asked for more to show up beyond what you think you desire and into what you really could have and you could receive? Because again, we go to, we might say, oh, I'd like a house, I'd like this, I'd like more clients, I'd like a successful business, and your definition of successful business is going to be different from mine, etc. But what if there's more and we don't even know how to cognitize that? And that's what I'm asking for right now. It's like
And
I would
yeah,
go
go.
for it.
So no, I was just gonna say that is it's like such a big missed part, because we so entrained to ask for what we know, and we miss the asking. Like, even have we ever really been empowered to ask for what we don't know? And
No.
that's huge.
Yeah. Because it's like, work it out. Like, and
Yeah.
there's a lot that you can do with that too. So I recently did a call called Opening the Doors to Creating a Magical Future, and it's free if you're on my Telegram thread. So if you want, you can join my Telegram thread. It's SimoneMilasas.com/Telegram, and we'll have it in the show notes. So don't forget to subscribe to the show notes. But it's free, and a lot of people have been commenting to me about how present they had to be listening to that call, because I was addressing, do you actually even know what it is you'd like with your life, right? Like
Yeah.
with your life, your money, your business, your relationships, sex, body, everything. And giving you some home play to actually look at that. So there's that. You can ask for that. But what Graham and I are talking about right now is go beyond that.
Yeah.
Like, I would like to ask for, no matter what it takes, no matter what it looks like, universe, show me something beyond everything I've ever desired.
Mm. You know, it's really strange as well. Like I've been having this like weird twist in my world, and on two areas in my life, and one is like where I'm living, because
Mm-hmm.
it's really also in the countryside. There's nothing to do here. Like it's once you've learned to be present, you're like, okay, what next? Type thing. Um, and it was so strange. Like just in question today, buying an electric bike popped into my world while I was at the shop. And that was the first time I was like, wow, I could actually make living here really work for me. And but
Wow.
yeah, and it was such a simple thing. And I
So let
have no
me ask, hang on one second, because how long have you lived there for?
4 years coming now. Yeah.
Have you ever actually truly chosen to live there?
No.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like because this was the other thing. There's so much like that I've been in, how do I say, like in a structure
Mm-hmm.
of how to be, right? And that's not been able to get me to be able to access these things that actually allow me to be joyful and could make wherever I live work.
Yeah.
Like if trying not to be too cryptic and not get into too much detail, I'm happy to if that helps. But if that makes sense, it's like, the structure of like, let's say relationship, or the
Mm.
structure of business, or the structure of money, there's such a big world outside of it. And it's like for me, that's what I'm getting you're looking at as well, is like what's so far out there that we didn't even know could be the simplest thing or the biggest thing that just goes,
Yeah.
wow, I could live here.
And I think you've got to have a look at the whispers of the universe as well, because I mean, okay, so where I am right now, like the background that we have here, and we'll do some little videos on Instagram when this comes out next week. But it's got the sea. Okay, I keep calling it the ocean. I've got to practice calling it the sea because I live on the Pacific Ocean, and this is not the Pacific Ocean. Um, and for me, water is just so nurturing. I mean, I like nature; it's very nurturing. And I like being here in Croatia. Today I went, oh, because I've been like toying with this thing of having a house or having a casa, like something in Italy that I could, have that homely thing, and I could make a base for a few months a year or something like that. And today I just went, oh, what if there was somewhere on the coast in Italy? Like, I wonder where in Italy has a coast like this that I could, call home, that I get to discover and, and walk around. Because I can hang out with myself really well. Like, I like
Mm.
it, I enjoy it. And then I like it, enjoy it when I have people. But it was just this little whisper that I went, I really like ocean, I really like sea, like I like the water. Okay, cool. So, and not to, it's such a fine line not to define that or make that into a that's what it has to be. It's like, no, I enjoy this. It just makes myself and my body happy. So looking at that, and as you said too, it's like that, like taking the structure out of what you've chosen and allowing a different possibility to show up. And one of the questions I've been asking is, what universe of possibilities is available in regards to this? You know,
Mm.
my
Love
life,
that.
my business, money, my relationship, anything. So I'm going to use, so everything that that is and everything that that brings up, we destroy and uncreate it.
Yeah.
Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and PUD, all nine shorts, boys, perverts, and beyonds. And that is the Access Consciousness clearing statement. And so much just about, pressing that delete button for all those different areas that we have made it into something that has to exist rather than the choices that we have available. And so one of the things I was looking at when hiking today is, what can I ask for, that what choice can I make, and what can I ask for that has a future, that has no validity to this reality.
Hmm. Wow.
Now, what do I
Wow.
mean by that? Well, it's not created from the predictability of a relationship, which we can
Mm.
touch on that, Graeme, because I know that
Yeah.
that's so many people go to, and I, including myself, I've done it before too. When you're in a relationship, you think you know the future
Hmm. Yeah.
because you're with this person, and it's such an interesting. And it doesn't mean like everyone go break up their relationships. That's not what I'm saying. I'm looking at, so if you're in a job and you've been in that job for a long time, or you own a business and you've been in that business for a long time, but how much have you decided that that's predicting your future?
Wow.
It's
Never
predicting it.
ever seen that. Yeah. Huh.
Yeah.
Wow.
But most people don't want to be single because they can't predict that future. Most people want to have a job that they can call their good, secure job. I mean, I
Wow.
think if 2020 showed us anything, it was like life is not friggin' predictable.
Yeah. And yet I think while you're saying that, that's a huge awareness. And it's like,
Mm,
and also how many of us keep trying to structure everything, even though the world, the universe is showing us the future is not predictable. We like have this force to like, no, I need to find the predictable. I need to go towards what I know is secure. And that's
yeah,
kind of like missing the greater, the bigger, the beyond.
yeah.
Mm.
Well, and we go to, okay, so even if I use the example now of like me being here, I've got an advanced body class next weekend, and oh, I think this will come out. This will come out before then, actually. So if you want to jump on a plane, you're in Europe, come to it. But there's not a great deal of people registered for it, and it still has this sense of lightness in my world, because I did indulge in going, oh, should we cancel it, or or still do it? And for me, it's very much, let's do this class, like
Mm.
let's do this class. And then I played that thing in my head of going, oh, you know what? Because I'm off to Russia next for a Choice for Possibilities class. Oh, what I should have done is gone to Russia and done, a Choice for Possibilities and then an advanced body class. And I went to, or I should have. And I went, what are you doing? What if there's no should haves? Like, I made a choice. It created a future that I couldn't predict, even though you think you can predict it. But I made a choice, and every single choice you make, every action you take creates a different future. So
Mm.
there is a lightness in my world for being here, that I just would not have chosen if I had stuck to the structure of a schedule and what I thought I should be doing, rather than allowing a different possibility to show up.
Mm.
Like, there's a relaxation in my world it's so palpable to me, of not being able to function from the rigidity or problem or anything that is occurring in the world. It's
Well,
like, wow.
I wonder if that energy as well has got a lot to do with where we go to balance the earth, and that,
Wow.
yeah.
Thank you for saying that. Yeah, that's something that Gary Douglas has been talking about recently. Instead of going to where you need to go, talking about, what if you chose to go, what will balance the earth?
Yeah. And also, like, I mean, if your body, I mean, I don't, the terminology, but like, if your body's also kind of getting that balance, whatever,
Mm.
and then how much does that contribute to the earth? And then the earth is getting balanced. How much does that contribute to your body? So that's the energy for me when you're talking about choosing Opatya. I'm
And you're
like,
making me smile. I love that. Yeah, thank you so much, Graeme, for that awareness. I get that is right on mark.
yeah,
And acknowledging, though, Graeme, how many times previously that I would have gone to the wrongness of a choice.
mm,
Please don't go to the wrongness of a choice. You chose. What did you choose it for? Like, what a great question to ask is, what awareness did I gain with this choice? And also, what else is possible beyond this? And what am I aware of that I haven't been willing to acknowledge?
you're getting wealthier. When you said you don't go to the wrongness anymore, that was like, that's a part of being wealthy. That's just like, because you're not making anything a problem or a wrongness, which is, from my sense, a part of having that universal wealth, that support. And it's not about the money, it's not about what you're going to lose, but it's everything that, from what you're saying, I can perceive is like, what are you going to gain here?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's cool.
And thank you for bringing the body thing into it too, because one thing, I mean, I've looked up, if you don't know, there's an app called All Trails, and it's, as far as I know, it's anywhere I've been in the world. It's amazing. So you pay a subscription fee, etc. Just add it to your subscriptions that I'm sure everybody has on their phones. But you look at All Trails and it gives you all this different information, and people upload photos. Like I just uploaded photos today. And then it will tell you how far things are, like the grade and everything like that. And there are so many hikes in this area. So I've been looking at them, and I knew I had my little car, so I'm going to go, I don't know, nearly every day or every second day. Whenever my body's asking for it, I will go on a hike. And I also have looked at hiring a boat so I can go out in the sea and swim in the sea, because that is something that is extremely nurturing to my body. So my question too is, if you're listening to this, is what if you stopped rushing around and trying to create that predictable life, that predictable business, your predictable revenue streams, by always being in a constant state of wrongness and judgment of you? And what if you asked what universe of possibilities is available and started choosing what actually brings you joy?
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
And I'm going to use the clearing statement with that too. Everything at that is times a gazillion, right and on, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys, provids, and beyonds. So Graeme, when you were looking at different things today, what else? I mean, I love the awareness of the electric bike, because that's something that just pings and you go, oh yeah. It's like, what else did you become aware of?
Yeah. Well, so, you know, we have a very different relationship. We're not dating, um, and all that. So I'm spending the weekend by myself and stuff like that. And I've been looking at, like, there's been this huge tension in my world about a lot of stuff, you know, particularly as we're breaking up the relationship and we're looking at different things. And I realized that I've never I've never been able to know who I am or what works for me or what's possible for me, while secretly knowing it deep down,
Mhm.
but never been able to actually get to it because of how many I have. There's two structures that are available. Either you're in a relationship or you're not, you know. And then when you're in one, you have to be like this. You've got to be the man, the gentleman, the boyfriend, the whatever it is. And what really helped me was the morality calls that we had with Gary. And I realized, like, I'm probably the worst boyfriend in the world. Like, truly, like, I'm terrible at it. I'm like, if you want a boyfriend, don't ask me because I'm really bad at that. But I couldn't get to the other side of it. And now what's happening is I'm starting to allow things to show up that I didn't even know were available. Like, I
Mm.
didn't even know it was possible to be able to have that as a living, or have this as a life, or have this as a way to be. And that whole, what was so beautiful about this awareness is now I know that energy, when I'm really like twisted by something,
Mhm.
it's because I'm in a structure and I'm not opening myself up to something that's actually me, that might not even exist yet, but is available, if that makes any sense
Yeah,
whatsoever.
no, it does. It's exactly
Mm.
what we've just been talking about, because it's not predictable and it's not being valid in this reality. So the interesting thing, as you spoke about relationship, and being, you're supposed to be boom, 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 these things, that's predictability. Like,
Hmm.
rather than, because I would not describe you as not a gentleman. Like, I'm
Right.
like, I'm not like, he's an asshole, he never da da da. That's not you, right?
Mm.
But you've got this like predictable reality in your world of what it's supposed to be, as we started right at the beginning of this podcast, that definition of what you're supposed to be in a relationship,
Yeah.
rather than what can I be with this relationship today, you know and be in question of that. And we're talking about relationship right now, but it could be your business, it could be your family, it could be a parent, it could be anything. What I'm attempting to ask you all that are listening to this now and in the future is, what if you came out of defining who you are, what you are, when you are, and you started being in question and asking, like, just ask, because the whole idea of asking for a future that is not valid to this reality, which means that it's not, the rules and regulations and the rightness and the wrongness, it's a possibility beyond this reality. Okay. That's not about working it out. That's literally asking the question, what else is possible? What future is possible beyond today? What action can I choose? What action can I take? And it is about following the energy. Like I was getting on the plane, coming here, finding out how small the class was, well, it's pretty funny because I'm about to get on this plane. So I'm going, right? I'm going to Croatia no matter what. And as soon as I got here, I just went, oh, this is just so nurturing for me. And apparently I found out that a lot of the aristocrats and royal families, etc., used to come here for healing and nurturing, etc. And I was like, well, there you go. Picking up on that energy. Yeah. So, but it really is about following the energy. And so one of the tools I would like to give to you guys too is what I call the yes-no universe. So when you're following the energy, you're not defining it. You're not trying to predict it. You're not going to the rightness or the wrongness. You are not in judgment. You are not choosing from limitation. You are choosing from being in question. And from that question, it's a yes, no. I'm going to Sardinia at the end of June, right? And there's this amazing app. If you'd like a recommendation, ping me and I can send it to you. It's called Opus, OPES. It's Opus Jets, right? So you put a little thing in there, and sometimes I do it just to see what's out there. And I put in going from Milan to Sardinia at the end of the month just to see. I was like, I wonder how much that would cost, like, because I've already booked commercial flights on EasyJet. If anyone knows EasyJet, there's a big difference. Okay. So this jet became available, and I haven't booked it yet, but I will when I finish this podcast, because it's such a big yes in my world. It's a huge jet, and I get a really good price on it because it's a back leg is what they call it. So obviously that jet's got to go to Sardinia to pick up people. It fits like 9 or 10 people in there, right? So I'm getting the leg going down. So I can't determine the time and I can't determine the place. Like I wanted Turin and it's going from Milan. Oh, well, it's not that much further, but it was a big, and I sat out in my veranda before doing this and I was like, yes, no. And I went, God, it's such a yes. And you look in your world and go, okay, yes. And if everything sort of lightens up, then choose it. And I go, no. And there's this heaviness to it. It's like I've just told the universe, hey, I don't desire to receive anything greater. Can you please create my life to be normal, average, and real? That's the way I look at it, the energy, right? And that's not what I'm asking for. I'm asking for something bigger and greater. Now, as Graeme pointed out, that doesn't mean spending a hell of a lot of money. Okay, yes, it's a private jet and it does cost more money. But choosing from yes, no doesn't mean that it has to always be about money. Okay. I mean, like now I'm in an Airbnb that's way cheaper than the hotel, but it's like people would say, as we said before, that it's not as luxurious, but it's working for me. It's giving me that space and that nurturing that my body was asking for. So that yes, no universe, just practice. If you're about to choose something, it's like, okay, will this create something greater? Is this the future that I can receive? Yes, no. And choose from that. For me, that's the exploration and that's the adventure of living.
It's so interesting, this conversation is bringing up such a weird conversation that Dane here was having, and he was saying where we create personalities and identities to function in a world that's not ours. And it's like, this is so much resonating with where, what if wherever we're funky in the world, what if that's actually because we're playing the wrong game? We're in a game that is not even ours, and then we create these like personalities and these definitions to, whatever it is, be a good batsman or be a good tennis player. And like, what if there's another game that we're freaking great at that we don't even know exists yet?
Another adventure. Yeah. I mean, recently too, Graeme, and I know a lot of people that listen to my podcast would know about this too. I recently got vilified harshly in Australian newspaper again. And it's interesting though, because I looked at that and went, okay, so all the people, it's not a great deal many, there's like less than a handful of the people who seem to be trolling me and, access and whatever. It's like they're waking up and choosing from conflict. Okay. So that's their win in their world, is creating conflict. I will admit that the first thing is for me to go, oh, let's see if I can sue them, etc. Apparently you can't, because you're a public figure. People are allowed to say whatever they want, even if it's not true. It's a false statement, which so much of it is false statements. But the energy of me looking at different, choices and realizing, oh, these choices here, these 3 or 4 choices here, are also choosing from conflict. Me living my life, jumping on a jet and coming to Croatia and going hiking and being here and being nurturing and just so peaceful for my body, that's a different possibility. That is not a choice from conflict. That is a choice from something greater. So I am super grateful for, every time something like that does come out, like the vilification, it shows me where I choose to live. And I choose to live in a world of greater possibilities, not in a world of conflict. And I've met a lot of people throughout my life and you'll see that in business and, wherever, it's like people just choose from conflict. So if you're choosing from conflict, what if there's a different possibility? Like, is that actually fun for you and your body, waking up each day and choosing from that? What if there's a different possibility, like a really different possibility? Like, I was walking around today going, what kindness, this was in the Spa supermarket, because it was just for the fun of it. What kindness can I be here? What kindness can I be today? That's my reality. That's the reality I play in, and that's the reality I'm asking for more of that.
Well, that's what I think why this what game are you playing was coming up, because you're definitely showing me, at least in this conversation, that you're really starting to play your own game and create your own game. And that's just
Yeah,
that's
my
wonderful.
own reality. Yeah, this is my reality. It's like, this is my reality. You know that song?
Sorry, go.
Well, you know that song in The Greatest Showman, "This Is Me"? I love
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
And I wonder, like, how many people would actually, if they were given the choice, to create their own reality, how many people would actually choose the kinder way to go, the gentle way to go, the generous way, like, rather than what we see mostly today? Like, that's my sense. It would actually be, if people gave themselves permission just to say, okay, if I'm going to create my reality, would you
What
go
would it
out there and say,
Yeah.
yeah,
And I just wanna mention with that too, though, I mean, I can be a feisty bitch of magnitude, so I can be it all, but that's not my waking up every day. Who
yeah,
can I hate on today? How can I choose from conflict? That's not my daily routine. My
yeah,
daily routine is I literally wake up in bed and put my hands on my body somewhere, and I start being super grateful for my body, because I spent many years not being grateful for it. And then super grateful for my body. And well, most of the time, especially when I'm traveling, I have to do where am I? What have I got on?
I love those.
Where's the bathroom? Yeah. And
Yeah,
you
I love
be in
that.
question,
Yeah,
but start my day like that. And then it's like, oh, what's up for me today? Like, what can I choose? Am I facilitating? Am I working on a different project? Am I doing a podcast? Am I got media? Or what's going on? Can I go for a walk? Can I be in nature? And so you're being in question. My daily waking up is not from conflict and from aggression or anger. My daily waking up is like, oh, what's next? But inclusive of that, trust me, I can be a feisty bitch if I need to be. So it includes everything. And that's like, what is your reality? If you were choosing your reality today, what would you choose? Not based on anything else, not based on, it doesn't matter if you, live with people, family, relationship, friends, work, anything. If you were choosing your reality today, what would you choose? What would work for you?
Hmm.
So Graeme, you and I could talk all day apparently on this. Is there anything that you would like to leave the listeners with? Any questions that you use that, another insight?
Wow. I would just say, like, if you can get that energy, like I managed to get today, where you can recognize if you're feeling funky or twisted, get to the question, hey, maybe you're trying to be something in a way that you can't be, and then that's not wrong. Like, what if there's actually a different way you can be in every area?
Yeah.
And to
Yeah.
not make yourself wrong, just recognize the energy. Like, that's all it is. It's just an energy.
Yeah. And what if you made the demand of yourself today to not judge you today, not judge you, your body, your business, your relationships, your previous choices? Who cares what you've chosen yesterday? What are you going to choose today? Like, really, you can change anything. Okay. So it's like, you know what? Don't judge what you chose. What are you going to choose today?
Yeah. Don't judge you. Judge everyone else. Just don't judge you.
No, don't judge everyone else. So enjoy everybody else, even the idiots in the world, because there are idiots in the world. So
Yeah.
that's
Sometimes that's me.
Thank you so much, Graeme, for being on
Thank
here.
you.
And thank you, everybody else, for being here. Please, again, everything that we've mentioned, there'll be notes in the subscription notes if you subscribe to that. And you can catch us on YouTube as well. Thank you. Maybe you're watching us on YouTube. Thank you for being here. And thank you for any of your feedback too. I get some really random feedback from podcasts, and I'm super grateful for it, because obviously I'm, in my room, my Airbnb here in Croatia, and Graeme's here. So it's the two of us, even though we are tapping into everybody else around the world who will be listening to this. It's really nice to get feedback. So I'm very grateful for that. If you're not following me, I've got my Instagram, but we've also got Choice, Change and Action Instagram as well. So you can follow both. And again, thanks for being here, Graeme. I'm going to see you in a few days.
Yes. And thank you. Thank you for being such an invitation. That's really cool. Very
Thank you.
inspiring.
You too. Thank you. I enjoy creating with you for sure. Thank you for that. Okay. Bye-bye, everybody. If you enjoyed this podcast, please make sure to hit the follow or subscribe button on your favorite listening platform to get notified of new episodes. We read all the reviews, so if there's any topic you would like to hear about, let us know. If you'd like to know more about the tools, information, and classes mentioned in the podcast, head on over to SimoneMilasas.com and follow me on Instagram at Simone Milasas, or the podcast has its very own link on Instagram at Choice, Change and Action. Don't forget, you can download the show notes, and lastly, have way too much fun today.